So now that we're done talking about the pre-laning phase, let's jump into the real game and talk about the laning phase itself. Now we have identified what do we need to do for the first 5 minutes. Now let's execute the plan itself and jump into the game itself. So here I'm playing against the Ember mid as an invoker. So I already know what my plan is. I'm gonna play the lane as aggressive as I can and try to keep the lane as static as I can, and yeah, just let's see how it goes. So first of all, try to block your creeps as well as you can. This requires a lot of experience to get good at it. So the way I block creeps, I lock my screen on my hero and then I just spam my right clicks and do my best. But that's how I found the best way for myself, is to lock the screen on my hero so it's easiest. I don't have to keep moving the camera. And ideally, the wave would stop here on my high ground, but my block wasn't optimal and I didn't manage to get it there, but it's good enough. As long as it's not on his high ground, I'm still okay with it. So going into this lane, you can see first levels. Invoker is not the best hero for the first levels. He has low damage. This guy has 10 more damage than me. He has better attack time. So the first lanes are like whatever, like you just right click this guy. As you can see, I've been repeatedly hitting him. He's lost half of his HP and so far it's okay for me. Mainly this hero is about getting level 3 and then you start dominating the lane once you get your levels. Because first levels, you just right click, that's my game plan. Try to get what I can, and if I can get last hits out of it, that's good also. But now I'm very happy how the lane is. I mean, he got a lot of denies. It's kind of sad for me, but in the end it doesn't matter too much because I still have I'm gonna have fast level 3, and that's what matters. As you can see, he's falling low on HP. That's been my game plan this lane so far, and it's been okay-ish. Could have been much better, but I'm still okay with it. You can see he already used one salve, and I have 450 gold. I bought a crown. I could have bought Place of Attack or a crown. I decided to go for a crown. I mean, could have been Place of Attack. It's more damage, but crown is all stats, gives me HP, gives me attack speed, gives me mana, and I'm gonna use it for drums later. So it's a valuable item to buy. You don't want to go for boots or something because it doesn't really offer you anything on this lane. You want to stay on the lane, and with levels, this hero starts dominating Ember. We're just looking to get through the early levels, and oh, actually I didn't say. Actually, I bought Place of Attack. It's the highest damage item, and yeah, I just decided to go for that. So now you can start seeing that the lane is turning into my favor. Even though the first lanes were rough, I didn't get that much out of it. You can see the lane is turning. I'm leading him last hits just for 1, but still he has denies on me, but that's normal. I'm invoker against Ember. First lanes are rough. But now, as you can see, this wave, I didn't pull it to tower. I want to keep it here if I can. Now the lane is going to be on my favor. You can see he's low on HP. I'm healthy. I have my quasi regen. I have 12 HP regen. Probably I need to bring some mangoes so I can spam my tornado on him. But now now this is the crucial point in the lane. I either turn it to my favor or he keeps being even. Now I don't want to push the wave too much. Keep right clicking him. Harass him out of the lane as well as you can. As you can see, that's my main priority. And now you can see he cannot enter the lane that well anymore. He's very, very sad right now, and now he's trying some desperate play with the Flame Guard, try to get something out of the lane, and it backfires very heavily on him. And now the lane is very hard for the Ember. It could have been the other way around if I focused on last hitting on the early waves and still didn't get that much out of it, because his damage when it's on me, if it's a good player, it's very difficult to outlast a guy with 10 more damage and a better base attack time. So it could have been, this lane can be very hard on Invoker if you don't know what you're doing. This matchup, I'm Invoker. I don't care about runes, honestly. The only thing I care about that he's not gonna get the rune, because Ember, he can use the rune very well. Maybe if he has a bottle. I mean, this game he didn't go for bottle. He has double Wraith Band, and he doesn't use the rune at all either. So we don't even care about the rune, honestly. I end up getting the rune because I'm on this side of the river and I'm playing on the aggressive side, so I have easier rune control because the lane is pushing into him all the time. So I end up getting it, doesn't do anything for me, he cancelled it right away, so that's good for me. And now it's just back to trying to play on the hill, harass, and deny, and play as aggressive as you can. I have 20 HP regen, he has 10 HP regen with Tango, so he's using money on regen, I'm using 0 money on regen, and probably you can see on the net worth already. Yes, I'm 600 ahead of him in net worth, even though the last hits I'm also 10 ahead. But yeah, as you can see, first waves, lane is hard. I play to my advantage. My quest is very strong against Ember, gives me the reason I need in the lane, and I abuse it heavily on the lane. So the matchup turns around and ends up being a very good lane for me, even though the start is not the greatest. So you always have to also think about where do you want the wave meets. Like, I mean, I already talked about how I want the wave to start. I want it to be on my hill, of course, at the start. So the best way to turn losing lanes into decent lanes, maybe even winning lanes, is to abuse the creep wave. Like, draw the aggro of the creeps, like right click the hero, then the creeps start following you. Like, for example, there's a low HP creep, the enemy wants to deny it, he has 20 more damage than you. So you pull the wave out of his reach, you let the tower hit it once, you're right, last hit. Things like this are very important to turn lanes that are rough to decent lanes. And then yeah, you keep abusing it, you always do it. Try to get it on your high ground always, and if the lane is hard, you try to pull the wave to your range creep, let it die, then you get the creeps for free, they follow you to the tower, your creeps go to his tower, he has to go there, you can last it for free under tower, and yeah, that's the best thing you can do in a losing lane. I mean, ideally you always want to have the wave on your high ground. If you have an even lane, for example, it's really if it's a range versus range and it's on your high ground, it's an even lane. So if you get it to your high ground, then the lane turns. You get the tower regen, +3 armor, +1 HP regen. If he starts harassing you, you are always going to be stronger than him because of the tower buff. And also he has a downhill that is a mischance. And that's the best way also for you to secure the range creep, because range creep is always going to be very hard for him to get. When it's like so deep into your tower and like on the high ground, it's very difficult for him to reach it. And then also, if you had a wave on your high ground, the enemy is more vulnerable to rotations from the supports also. You can get the wave there, ask for your position 4. If it's like a hero like Earth Spirit, Tiny, something like that, suddenly you turn this, just because you pulled the wave into your high ground, you get a kill on him. And that's the most ideal position to have the lane almost in all the cases. I mean, some cases it's different. You want to push the wave and then harass him under his tower. Like that is also a valid play for some heroes, but it's obviously a bit more riskier play. They can TP in, get a kill on you, but yeah, it's also a play you can do. Around 5-minute mark, people start breaking lanes. They start going for the bounties, and it's a big moment in the game because it also turns night. Ganking is more easier. There's less vision on the map, and heroes start to get stronger. Supports are like level 3 and stuff. They have strong damage spells, of course depending what you have. But when 5-minute mark hits, you need to start talking as a team more like, oh, maybe top lane needs help. Okay, then you start like, okay, maybe I can TP there in 20 seconds. I push this wave in. You have to start talking about more like team plays already. Before 5-minute mark, usually nothing really happens. You're gonna be static in your lane, and until that, you can just last it, deny for free, focus on that only. But now the game is already 5 minutes in. The supports start to move, and you need to be cautious how aggressive you can be on the mid lane, because at any given moment the position 4 might just come and gank you. And for a mid laner, depending on the hero, what do you want to do. At this game, I'm an invoker. Probably I'm going to stay on the lane for another 5 minutes, about that time, depending. This game I went for a very lane-heavy item build. I went for Crown, Blitz of Attack, Null Talisman. I don't have a boots, I don't have anything to move around the map. So I'm gonna know that I'm gonna stay on this lane for quite a few more minutes. What I'm looking to do, farm my boots and so on, and then I start moving around the map and making plays happen. But before that, I identified my role as just farming mid laner. It's very different when you play like Tiny or Pangolier. As soon as you hit level 6 on Pangolier, you're gonna make a play happen. You're gonna say, I'm TPing bottom, let's gank this Slark or something. And yeah, it's just very different. If you're Tiny, you really want the runes, you're like, yo, let's get these bottom bounty runes, I wanna bottle it, and then I wanna gank bottom. But yeah, it's always different depending on the hero you play. So this game, the situation is very different. I'm laning against a Morphling. First of all, Morphling, he has even higher damage, so it's even harder for me to last hit against him. And in this game, the play of harassing him out of the lane is also not valid. So I have very limited amount of plays in this lane because he's higher damage, he has higher armor, he has there's no way I can harass him out of the lane. So basically the only play I have is to just get the most out of the lane. Try to get as many last hits and denies as I can and levels. Like there's really not much else I can do in this lane. So I play some mid ward. Usually I don't play some mid ward, but range versus range, it's okay to play some mid ward. But usually they can get rewarded and it's very bad if they do. So it's a bit risky to place it usually, but in pubs people always do it. Sometimes even in pro games, like most teams do it, but I never really like to do it. So it's just I don't really see the value in it, and well, some people do. I guess that's about it. So this game, let's go on to the laning phase. So here again, trying to block the wave as much as I can. Usually blocking on Radiant is harder than Dire, I don't know why it is, but usually Dire wins the block. Like this game is about the same as the first one. But now, going into the lane, I can right click him for the first waves. This game, as you can see, I went for Exort build instead of Quasv X because I just want to get as much damage as I can. And yeah, then it's just all about, as you can see, I'm already trying to pull the wave to me, and then now it's a good situation for me. The wave is pushing into me, so it's gonna end up being under my tower. You see, I pull the wave to my range creep, so the creeps start killing my range creep here, and then I can start last hitting on my high ground. It's much easier for me to last hit on the high ground than trying to last hit in the middle of the river, because then it's even grounds and he has higher damage and much better attack time. So I'm just trying to make it optimal for me to get most out of the lane. So yeah, my approach is very defensive. I don't even try to right click him, as you can see. It's very pointless. It's a Morphling, very difficult to harass out of the lane. This is the perfect situation. The wave is under my tower. I get to pull it here and try to last it. Even got the deny, but what can I do? Now it's just about last hit denying. There's no other play in this lane except trying to get most out of it. This game I went for double Null Talisman, going for the mana regen so I can spam my Forge Spirit, spam my Sunstrike if needed for the other lanes. Exort build, always different build because you need mana regen more than on Quasv X. So Null Talismans nowadays they give you a lot of mana regen and makes them pretty decent early game items for mana dependent heroes. So here what he's doing is he's just also pushing the wave in. He's also very happy with this lane. Like he should be very happy. He's getting free farm on Morphling. It's very good for him. I end up getting the first blood for me. That's very good. Always be aware of the map positioning. Get the Sunstrike kills. Yeah. Now I already have a lot of damage on me. I have level 2 Exort with the Forge Spirit. I should be able to last hit quite okay against him, but I still have some struggles. Yeah, basically this lane's idea is to just last hit deny and get the most out of it. So like when you're in a losing lane, probably you're not gonna get most out of the lane, so you want to start thinking about what am I gonna do after the laning stage. And this game, I'm gonna get probably like level 5 or something out of the lane, and then I'm gonna maximize, get jungle creeps, play with Sunstrike, get some kills, get my face boots, drums, and I'm gonna be very passive until I get like face boots and drums. I'm just gonna try to maximize as well as I can. And yeah, I mean, eventually this lane is pretty good for Invoker. When I get level 7, I have level 4 Exhort. Then there's no way he should be able to deny creeps from me. So then it's just like trading farm, and I'm very happy with trading farm because my hero eventually, with items, I'm very confident I will win this game with the items like drums, agonyms, and whatever I will get later. But getting to the agonyms point is very important as an Exhort Invoker. Once you get there, you have drums, ags, this hero becomes very, very powerful team fighter, and the amount of damage this hero offers is very insane. So even though it's not the best laner, I still really enjoy playing it because there's so many plays you can do with items and just good spell usage. So what's important in the laning phase is, most importantly, you have to know your matchup. How do you approach it? First of all, are you gonna be the guy who's defensive or the guy who's supposed to win the lane? And then like the creep equilibrium, you have to have it in mind all the time. Getting the wave into your high ground is always very good for the game. So it's easier for you to last it there, easier for you to deny, it's safer, you're not vulnerable to rotations. So it's probably the most important thing about laning is knowing how to abuse the creep waves, so you get most out of them. So that's something a lot of players have a lot to learn on, and yeah, then just requires a lot of practice and gonna get better.